How do you get up from an all-time low?
Forget the past, really I don't know today. I could be your tour guide, I think you should go away. Don't know where you need to be, I don't know what you see in me, but I think that is ludicrous. Ludicrous, that's DTP. A fraction of your friction is feeding into addiction. Permitting my intuition doesn't suffer from division. My decision of revision has risen into a vision, perceived like a position and thinking at a collision. Well, it's imminent. Go berserk up in this bitch, you would think they're eminent. And I think about ending.
I'm Rob Jones. I'm a senior producer on NBA 2K, and I've been with 2K since NBA 2K2. In terms of gameplay, the new features are tighter control and responsiveness of control, both on the dribbler. Mostly on defense, you'll look at movement and the way movement is smoother altogether. We've moved our defensive movement into the system that drives the ball handler, results in more predictive movement, tighter, more concise, and more precise, which in turn yields, more a more responsive feel when you're playing. So we're really happy with that. We captured over like 6,000 animations to build better feel for rebounds, blocks, contact. You'll see a lot of contact when you go into the basket. So now that when you see a shot and a guy gets hit, the response, the visual response to what's happening is the appropriate response for what the result in your shots are. Contact between the ball handler and the dribbler, the ball defender and the dribbler. It was really, really important, so you feel like you're bumping guys out. I was telling somebody earlier today that one of the best feelings is playing very good defense for an extended period of time and forcing your opponent into a poor shot at the end of the shot clock. It's something that I used to try last year, and I could never get it to work out for me. Right at the end, there was always some breakdown. With the new defense, the new defensive rotation stuff that we've done, that's gone, and so we've achieved much better balance in the game. And then when you play against the AI is more intelligent. It's more savvy at reading the things that a human would do to kind of break its patterns. It can make decisions kind of based on what it sees you doing, which is something that it didn't do before. Before, everything was all predicated on positioning, and I'm open to move here. Or if something was scripted, it followed that script. Now it's always evaluating what you're trying to do against it to then use that back against you. So really happy with how the AI is performing against the user as well. So, and that's just from a sheer gameplay standpoint. The experience that you get coming onto the court with the presentation, both before you get in the game with Ernie and Shaq, is major to us, because I think it just kind of builds that excitement going into the game. It connects you as the user more to what you're going to see. The pregame introductions, the cheerleaders, the mascots, all of that just comes together as an ultimate simulation experience. It makes you feel like you went to an NBA game. We have built upon that system, but we've just given the offense more options to avoid getting blocked. We have not announced what we're doing on PS4 and Xbox One yet, but the main thing was that Cruise was definitely requested by our fans. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to do some new stuff that will make those fans just as happy while evolving what we're doing in terms of being online. Yeah, this year my career is going to be, I can't give you all of the details. I can tell you that it's all new, that the story is all new, and that the focus of the story is to be closer to life in the NBA as a player, dealing with teams and dealing with your teammates and coaches. I think you're going to have to wait on that detail. I can tell you that we've worked on all the concerns to improve those. Online stability has been a huge focus for us, in all modes, the park being a very big one for us. And then also the other concerns that you brought up, time waiting in the park was something that we've looked at. But when you hear the announcements for the park, I think you guys are going to be really excited because we're bringing some new features that I think that people are going to really resonate to. Now we haven't announced all the details yet, but my team expands in terms of their content. We're going to be more dynamic in terms of the challenges that are provided to the user from week to week, in terms of tournament type stuff and stuff that we can change on the fly in terms of prizes. So it's expanding. It's ever growing because we find it to be something that people are really gravitate to. And then there's a couple additional features that we haven't announced quite yet that you should be hearing about probably by the end of the week. So my GM this year takes the RPG element and kind of amps it up. I mean, the first thing that you'll do is you'll meet with the owner. He sets up your goals. It's very clear. We have within the my GM there's your assistant GM that kind of guides you through the things that you should be doing, kind of teaches you how to move around and what to do. But some of the stuff that I talked to, just different ways to interact with the game. When you're simulating a game, our new SimCast mode will allow you to make changes on the fly to strategies that you're employing in that specific game. So we have a new feature called Pro Scouting, where your scout will tell you about the team that you're going to face, and it tell you what it thinks that you should do from a strategy side. And then you can go in and you can set that up before the game. You can change people's rotation minutes. You can change how you're going to play offense and defense against a particular team, what your point of emphasis is. And then you hit simulate, and it'll run your simulation based on those things. At any point in time during the simulation, you can go in and change those strategies to improve your results. And then if that doesn't work, you can always just jump into the game and finish it off by playing it on the sticks. But it's just it's a better way to interact with the simulator instead of just hitting a button and waiting for the result to come back to you. I can't even answer that for sure, but I believe that every team is playable online this year. We have thought about it, but again, there's a risk reward, or more so, it's like, hey, is it worth us getting a license just for every 4 years when you can use the EuroLeague, which is persistent and it's something that fans will come back to every single year. It's to do things the way we do them, and we don't do them very lightly. So that means to do them the right way, get all the teams correct, and get all the heads right, and the courts and everything right, takes a huge endeavor. So when we think about it, we're always thinking about it from the longevity, right? If I give you FIBA teams this year, it's important because FIBA World Cup's going on right now. Is it important next year? And so, that's kind of one of the things that we weigh from, when we're looking at it from a business standpoint. I would say don't hesitate. I mean, if you're a fan of the NBA or basketball in any way, shape, or form, you like any team sports game that has exciting plays, and it's just balanced and something that you can play with friends or that you want to experience by yourself, NBA 2K 15 offers all of this to you as a user. You have an RPG mode in which you can play yourself as a player. You have an RPG mode in which you can play yourself as a general manager who's managing things. You have a customizable league mode that you can play with friends. I mean, you have the quote-unquote almost MMO in the park. I mean, there's so many ways to dive into the world of the NBA in NBA 2K15 that, like I said, if you're a huge fan, there's no other game out there, especially given the quality of the simulation on the court.
You're the reason that I'm here. You're the reason that I'm gone. You're the reason that I'm right. You're the reason that I'm wrong.